Hey guys, and welcome to my Aria high score run. Gonna go ahead and spoil things for you a little bit. We actually complete this run with a score of 53.99, which to my knowledge is the highest that's been recorded for this mode yet. This is also my first ever Aria completion, so I guess it's a pretty good time to have it with the Necrothon and all. I'm wanting to say maybe like 6 people have ever completed it, like 6 or 7. I'm not sure since the Necrothon started. There have been a few more, obviously, but this is my first one, and it happened to be quite a doozy score-wise, so that's, definitely good for me, hopefully. I'm hoping that can keep the top spot, but even still, there's still only a day left of the competition, but it could still definitely be beat, by BRX or one of those, so, gotta stay on your toes, but I'm just gonna say this is probably the best I'm going to be able to submit, so I'm very happy with how it turned out. So, if you don't know, Aria mode to this game is basically die in one hit, die on a missed beat, and regular dagger only. No golden daggers or anything. So that score is also just with the base weapon, which, if you know a little bit about score runs, is actually kind of neat how high that is without having a gold weapon or anything. So, that's pretty cool. So basically your objectives, at least my objectives, the way I like to play it whenever I'm trying to do Aria mode is, first and foremost, get more damage. The normal dagger only does 1 damage, and it's going to get you in big trouble against like black skeletons and stuff later on. So your best bet is to probably pick something up for damage. The Karate Gi is very good for that. However, that also forfeits your chance to take glass armor, so, wear it with care, I guess. The Ring of Might is also an option. The Ring of War is probably option number 1 for that, because it will also, give you the knockback and cause more enemies to spawn, which gives you more gold. So it's kind of a, win-win-win situation there. But the Karate Gi tends to be what I go for. I also like to get the War Drum because it kind of makes up for your range. The War Drum will let you sit still, basically, and kill a beat while the enemies move. It also ups your attack power some as well, so you can use that for, a couple different reasons. But I like to have it mostly for being able to stand still for a beat, because that lets you kind of make up for your lack of range. You can let the enemy come to you, so it's really super helpful to get. And of course, when it comes to, the tertiary objectives, getting gold raising stuff, basically the Ring of Gold is also a good option. Getting things like the hover boots for Zone 3 is super nice. You don't have to worry about the floors. That's about all I can think of that I really super care about. So, thankfully we get actually most of those in this run, as you might be able to guess. So right now we're still looking for all those things. Dealing with the basic 1 damage dagger is, kind of a pain sometimes. Thankfully Zone 1 is pretty much routine by this point. It's been ingrained in my head so much I could practically do it in my sleep if I didn't need to actually see the enemies. But yeah, and of course the other change that since you can only use the normal dagger, you can't get a gold dagger. I thought that would be, when I first started out, I thought that was the case. You could get different types of the regular dagger, but nope. Just the starting one only, so that makes things quite a bit harder. Alright, so there's the Karate Gi. That is great to get this early. I don't really need it this early, but it's kind of reassuring now that I have it. So we know we've gotten at least one of those objectives ticked off. And by ticked off, I don't mean angry, of course. I mean checked off, like if it were written down, on paper, like people don't do anymore. Yeah, and there's also the Transmogrifier, which it's a decent trade-off to go and get your shield transmogrified, or not your shield, your shovel transmogrified if you... yeah, I just lost a bunch of money right there because I do not want that Ring of Phasing at all, so we're just going to let that be. What was I talking about? I was talking about something. Oh well, it'll come back to me. Oh yeah, Transmogrifier. It's a decent idea to get your shovel transmogrified, so maybe you can get lucky and get like a pickaxe or something. The titanium shovel isn't too useful, but getting a pickaxe, or I don't think you can get a glass shovel from there, but I'm not 100% sure. Of course, glass shops are also good. Glass armor is basically one of the very few means of protection that Arya has. It'll protect her from one hit completely, so that can be a lifesaver. But again, it's armor, and we're wearing the karate gi, so that's kind of out of the question at this point. I'm using this for damage, and I kind of need that. Alright, so Red Dragon on 1-3 is not quite optimal. I mean, it doesn't really matter too much whether you get it on 1-2 or 1-3. The gold numbers you're talking about in Zone 1 are low enough that, you know, doubling it kind of doesn't make up for losing it every beat. It turns out about even either way. So unfortunately, the poor shopkeeper's about to get his here. And there he goes. So, of course, killing the shopkeeper drops the Crown of Greed. This is just basic score run stuff. And that damage really helps against taking out that Red Dragon quickly. Alright, so now we've got double gold drops, except we do lose 1 gold every beat. So time is of the essence here. We've got to be pretty efficient about what we're doing. The other good thing about Arya score runs, though, is that you can't lose your multiplier, because if you do, you pretty much die. So, you know, I guess that pretty much guarantees you're set on that front. And this monkey's going to fall down. Not a whole lot I could have done about that. I could have maybe lured him over to the left, but the purple monkeys don't drop a lot of money anyway. Gotta get around the long way to the zombie, get the coins along the way. First boss is Deep Blues. If you go up this left side here, you're relatively safe charging straight forward. You can get that knight, then usually the bishop and the queen, and then that rook. And that takes out a lot of the high level pieces quickly, and it's just the pawns and like 1 rook to deal with. Some of the bosses can be annoying. I think Death Metal is super hard as Arya, only having that 1 reach, and he moves around so much and then like summons a bunch of skeletons. It can get real hairy real fast. So there's the War Drum, so we're 2 for 2 so far. And now basically this is what I'm looking for. You also notice we have a ton of bombs, which is going to go a long way. I was hoping to get a purple scroll there so I could dig some shop walls, but alas, it was not meant to be. So otherwise just mowing through the enemies here. And obviously something else I'd really like is something to boost my gold just a little bit, namely the Ring of Gold, but also the Ring of War would be acceptable. And it would also allow me to take the glass armor if need be. There's the first example of the War Drum. I could have just like dug the wall there. There's the pickaxe, so a purple scroll would have let me dig the shop, but you know, we've got plenty of bombs, so basically 10 bombs at this point with the Crown of Greed is basically 1,000 gold. So it comes out, you know, 10 to 1 that way. Or, well, 1,000 to 10, that would be 100 to 1. And I think we don't get lucky with any of these shops. Sometimes they'll have exploding mushrooms in the corner. But I don't think we had any such luck here. See the glowy gems over there. Zone 2 is kind of my groove. Like, Zone 1 is definitely the easiest, obviously. But man, when I get to Zone 2, I love Zone 2. I think it's a combination of like the music, and I like all the enemies in it, pretty much. Those wraiths can be a little annoying. I think the thing I like about Zone 2 better than Zone 1 is the fact that Zone 1 kind of has more enemies that chase you on every beat. This has the ghasts, this has the armadillos if you anger them. But apart from that, actually I think they're called wights in this stage, W-I-G-H-T. You know, apart from that, unless you're a boss, you're probably not chasing me on every beat, so, or a red bat like is standard. So it gives you kind of a lot of time to do stuff, and I think that's why I like it so much. There we go. Wait on him with the War Drum, take him down. Gotta watch out when there's 2 mushrooms in close proximity. It's really easy to get caught up in one of the diagonals of one of them and get hit. I think we've got a mimic down here, and then we will jet because we're getting very close to the end of the song. Obviously, reaching the end of the song as Arya means losing your multiplier and you die. It's the same with trapdoors. You can't go down trapdoors with Arya either. Now, normally a potion, if you have one, will save you from a missed beat. There's the War Drum doing some work. That Black Skeleton Wizard has 3 health, and I only have 2 damage, but the war drum using it will increase my attack power by 1. And if I hit it, I think 5 times, it'll increase it by 2, but I rarely ever need that. But yeah, usually if you have a potion, it will protect you from a missed beat, but it does some weird things when you start getting into trapdoors. Like, you think it would save you and you would just continue on the next floor, but unless it's been patched, the game just kind of hangs. So it's a really indecisive ending, but I'm going to try to get this armadillo up here. There we go, so it doesn't fall down through the trapdoor. Got a red nightmare, should be super easy with a war drum, probably 2 hits. There we go. So you can see why getting damage up is super important. When you can take enemies out really quickly, it really limits the amount of threat that you get. So we're making a beeline for the bottom here. The shop has still got to be over here, so we want to use up those bombs as quickly as we can. Just in case something goes wrong, you want to have gotten as much gold as possible. And we've got 8 at this point, so that's plenty. Unfortunately, this is one of the crappy layouts where one of them would only give you 4, so we're only going to bomb the 3 corners here. Got people trying to get in from the top, and I believe they will succeed. Yeah, they opened up the path there, but you notice there's actually a potion, which is a very big deal. Aside from the glass armor, the only other thing that can keep Arya alive upon screwing up. And glass armor does not protect against missed beats either. Only the potion will do that. So right now we are in super good shape. The only thing we're really missing is something to boost the gold. And otherwise we've got damage, we've got the war drum, and we've got a potion to save us in case something goes terribly, terribly wrong, as it's very prone to do. Yeah, you can also use the war drum to kind of keep the doppelgangers moving. I'm not sure if that's intended behavior, but it is the actual behavior, so you know, you can use that to your advantage. It's really nice if you get a kind of, you know, an odd number of spaces away from them. So more moolah from the gold bricks here. Really jonesing for that purple scroll. I could so use it right now. You can get one guaranteed from a Shrine of War, which I don't actually think I would take a Shrine of War at this point, even if one were to show up. It doesn't. But, because the Shrine of War makes things a whole lot harder, especially as Arya. This is a death trap, so I'm not going to come in from that angle. Let's go up here instead. Take this guy out around the corner. The problem with the moles is that if they tread over some gold that's on the ground, they actually destroy the gold, so... optimally speaking, you would control where the mole goes and try to make sure it doesn't erase any of your hard-earned gold here. Adventurer's Boots helps, also you don't get stuck in like swamp and water and stuff, so it becomes actually pretty nice if you're being chased by stuff and there's nowhere to go but water. Still gotta be careful with the purple guys. It takes 2 hits and they can hit you in between strikes, so... Lead boots do not want at all. I actually would pass up lead boots even if I had no boots. They don't really do much aside from like kind of keeping the... I'm trying to save this mimic, this doppelganger here, but that's just not meant to be. I could have done it if I would have used the war drum, but it wasn't worth the trouble for 12 coins. Got another Minotaur. I like these guys this run, don't we? I love how rhythmic it gets, though, when there's like a bunch of mushrooms on screen at once. I also really like that about Zone 2. Let's make sure to lure these guys away so we don't accidentally get caught up in that thing. I was going to ignore it, but then I saw there was a clear path, so we'll just take the 18 coins. Okay, so that is 2-3, and this is Death Metal. Death Metal is basically the make or break of the run. I kind of like the doppelgangers, because they're generally kind of easy to get away from. I'm real careful about these skeletons around these bounce traps. So take it slow and take him out. Thankfully, the increased damage takes him to his fire stage really quick, and once he gets there, it's super easy, because, you know, he charges up for like 5 beats trying to get that fire attack going. And there's our Ring of Gold, so... all the checklist is officially checked off. We've just got to complete this thing. So Zone 3 is basically all about whether or not you get an unlucky start. That's about what it comes down to. Unfortunately, one of the downsides is that I don't have any spells right now. I would love a fireball, but I would especially love a freeze enemy spell. That can really get you out of a tight spot if you're being backed into a corner. So at this point, I'm already pretty close to what my previous score was. It was like 3,800 or something. So I'm just trying to survive. I'm not even focused too much on score right now. I'm basically just trying to get going and, trying to stay alive. And generally, the coins will work themselves out. Be careful there that we don't accidentally slide into the path of that thing. Back way off and give this push monster a bunch of room. You can also lure the goblins to you with the war drum, which is really helpful. You don't have to back yourself into a wall or anything. Yetis have ruined so many of my runs just because they step forward and then have an area of effect all around them. So it ends up being like 2 squares forward. It's really deceiving, actually. Deceptive, I guess. Bunch of ice dudes kind of balled up here. Let's destroy the fire pot and get the ice slime. Got a Yeti coming down, so we're basically just going to let him do his thing. Of course, the Crown of Greed is ticking away right now, so, optimally you would find a way to charge in there, but I'm not concerned too much about being optimal right now. I'm concerned about being alive. Having a potion into Zone 3 is also a very nice security blanket. And you got to be super careful around this ice. Hitting a direction while on the ice will cause you to get a missed beat. So you have to pay really close attention. This is where the hover boots come in super handy because you don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. And we can just lure the last goblin down and we should be done with the floor. There's a shop up there that I could have bombed, but I've only got 1 bomb left. I'm also going to take refuge here because this is kind of a rough start. So taking refuge in the shop is a great way to funnel things in. It's one of my most oldest tips that I can give. I know I just said most oldest, but it's really like if you get caught with a giant swarm, funneling in the shop can literally be life or death. Take this guy out on the corner. I'm always real nervous doing that. I hate being right next to the skeletons when they get off the horse. Thankfully, fire pots are blocking their advance down there, so we can just take our time with the fire slime, get whatever's in here, get a fireball spell, which is helpful. The Adventurer's Boots also protect you against hot coals. I think I knew this while I was playing, but I didn't want to risk it just in case, for some weird reason that wasn't the case and the voice samples were screwing up or something. Damage is super important right there, so you can just, take out those yellow skeletons back to back. That was also a good 50 coins right there in that little bunch. Alright, so let's back off a bit. We'll let the goblin come to us and also let the Minotaur die. Take out that Yeti, go back and get this guy. These little beetles can also be deceptive too. They've got 3 health, so they take a couple hits and move every other beat. It's actually really easy to think they're not going to move, and then they move. Also, this is totally irrelevant, but I love this updated music. It's been this way for a while, but I really like what they did, what Danny B did, especially with Zone 3. Updated the hot music to the point where I actually kind of prefer it over the cold, and that wasn't really the case before. Alright, so we got a lot of things coming at us, but thankfully it's relatively clear from the bottom and from the left as well. We've only got stuff that's coming at us in 3 or 4 beats, so it's a lot of time to stop and think. I'm also not concerned literally at all with score right now. I am just trying to find the exit and complete it. Because if you beat the final boss, you can get an extra 1,200 gold, and that would be enough to really push me over the edge. I've already, I think, got first here. I might need 50 more. But I want to make sure I can get as much as I can. So they're all coming in a line here, which is nice. We'll just back off for the dog a bit. Let him come up around the corner, so these guys have to come around that way. Alright, and that's the boss. This is also first place right now for sure. 4,200 definitely takes it. So the exit is here. I'm just going to take it, even though there's still plenty of enemies to kill. Then finally King Konga, which is probably the easiest boss, so thankfully I got it last. We've also got a fireball spell, which helps a lot in taking out this other stuff. We can just burn it here, and that'll take care of most of them. Otherwise, we stand in the middle with the war drum and go back and forth. King Kong is off his throne. Taking the goblin because he's annoying. And there we go, flawless victory. So we get our 1200, which is going to push us to 54. And one final check for the yellow scroll, just in case. It decided to be nice. It didn't. Go down, and that's our score, 53.99. Alright, so if you stuck with me, thanks for watching. This run is definitely like the culmination of all the practice I've ever been doing, and I'm super pleased with it. So thanks for watching. This game actually took a screenshot. This game actually comes out tomorrow, July 30th, so hope you all get it, and I will see you later.